A very good morning to one and all present here. A warm welcome to our distinguished guests, friends, and teachers from GIIS campuses from all over the world, members of the management and parents to the GIIS Real World Challenges Convention 2018, where we think, create, and inspire. This is the very first time that we are hosting this convention at our new SMART Campus. I am Avantika.
And I am Ajay.
And we are going to take you through today's program.
Quality is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, intelligent direction, and skillful execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives.
We take the opportunity of inviting and welcoming our esteemed guest of honor this morning, Professor Aurobindo Ghosh, Assistant Professor of Finance Education, Lee Kong Chian School of Business, Singapore Management University.
We are honored to have you with us, sir.
I request our principal, Ms. Melissa Maria, to kindly give the welcome address. Ma'am, please.
Good morning. Good morning, students. I'm very happy to see that the auditorium looks full. To all our distinguished guests from Singapore and from overseas, a very warm welcome. To our guest of honor, Mr. Aurobindo Ghosh, members of the management, judges, all our teachers, and once again to our students from overseas. It gives me immense pleasure to stand here and warmly welcome all of you. Real World Challenges Convention is an annual event that is held by GIIS Singapore. And the sole objective of this is to sensitize and create an awareness among students of all the challenges that our environment faces, and also make sure that our students can come up with alternatives and solutions for these problems. This year, the theme for RWCC is Technology for NextGen Learning. And we have for the very first time introduced 3 new competitions to enable students to make use of technology that is available to them, either in their immediate surrounding or from their sources that they have, from wherever they can get it. Besides this, we've continued to have several other competitions. And this time, of course, students who have been participating over the years will realize how we very strongly leveraged on technology in inviting students for the various competitions. We have 13 of our campuses and close to 500 students who are participating. But what is even more interesting to know is that we have had many, many more students, because it is not a competition of just today and the prejudged events. I know that each of our campuses have preliminary rounds, and there are many, many more students who are going through this entire experience of looking for solutions to problems that are challenging our world today. I want to personally thank all the judges who have spent time looking at the various prejudged entries, for all the insights, for all the comments that they have shared with us and with the students. We strongly believe that this third eye that is looking at the work that is coming in from children and the inputs that you provide are actually stepping stones for our students to do better. We have judges who are going to look at the on-the-spot competitions today, and surely there'll be insights from each one of you. So a huge thank you for all the contributions you have made in helping us make this program a great success. The Real World Challenges Convention, like I've said, is held to encourage our students as well as our teachers to engage in projects that enable them to think out of the box, come up with viable and result-oriented solutions to problems. And this is not only with the QC, but looking at Turncoat, looking at the conference, or also the art competition. This is also a forum when we have seen over a period of time so many innovative ideas, so many suggestions that have been brought forth at this platform and then taken back into our campuses and implemented. This event is a reiteration of the GIIS mission of promoting creativity among the students as well as teachers. It is a platform that encourages sustainability. It is not that you give the idea and it's forgotten, but how you take the idea and make use of it in your own campus, in your own environment. This event is also an opportunity for great minds, not only from Singapore, but from our campuses in India, campus in Tokyo, campus in Abu Dhabi, you name it, KL, all these great minds and sparks that are there in each one of you as students. This is a platform of bringing those great minds together. One thing I like to reiterate is that this platform also breaks myths. It breaks myths that solutions and answers to problems are attained by seniors and adults. And why do I say that? Is for the simple reason that we have our kindergarten students and our primary students who also, come up with absolutely stunning solutions to issues that we as adults see. And today, through the video, you will see the presentation our kindergarten students have made. So it is a reiteration once again for all of us that solutions can come from our youngest minds. And at GIIS, that is what we strive to do. It's not the monopoly of just the senior students, but right from K2 unto grade 12. The last bit that I'd like to share is, as educators, we believe that we also play this role of igniting and transforming our students into global citizens. We want them to think creatively, and we want them to take these thoughts and this ability to think not only here, but into their adult life. I want to reiterate that quality circles has been a focus point for us, because this is one scientific way in which we come up with problems and then we look for solutions using a very, very scientific approach. This year, we've sent 20 QCs to the Singapore Productive Association. We've got our judges who are here to help us shortlist the most impactful projects. And today will be an opportunity where you will get to listen to those projects, to see what kind of transforming work our children are already doing. Coming to the Smart Campus. The Smart Campus is a testimony of how technology can be leveraged for effective learning, and how the Global Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship has been instrumental in providing technology-based experiences to our students, be it robotics, coding, AI, use of AR, VR in teaching, learning, or the Stitch workshops that we've had where we've leveraged on the makerspace, be it hackathon, or be it entrepreneurship. All of these are experiences that are only going to strengthen our students for the 21st century. And the Smart Campus has been pioneering to make this happen as an absolute reality for each one of you. Just a few takeaways before I conclude. It is said rightly that technology can become the wings that will allow the educational world to fly further and faster than ever before. That is, of course, if we allow it to happen. Technology can no longer be viewed as a learning enhancer. It must be viewed as a foundational piece of living in the 21st century. And finally, our students, they don't come to school saying, hey, I think I'm going to use technology today. They just use it because it is like an appendage that they grew up with. We should stop using it as an add-on anymore. Having said all of this, I want to wish all of you a fabulous day, a fruitful day with rich experiences, and to all our guests, we really, really hope that this is a wonderful time for you today. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am. It is our privilege to introduce to you our guest of honor for the day, Dr. Aurobindo Ghosh. Dr. Aurobindo Ghosh is an assistant professor of finance education and serves as principal investigator for the City SMU Financial Literacy Program for young adults, catering mainly to the low-middle Singaporean adults between 17 and 30 years of age.
Professor Ghosh was also the founding program director and architect of the Master of Science in Financial Economics, MSFE, a pioneering multidisciplinary finance program in SMU. He has pioneered and is leading a project in conceptualizing, developing, and maintaining the Singapore Index of Inflation Expectations, SINDEX, in collaboration with partners, including the Monetary Authority of Singapore, the MAS, and the Sim Kee Boon Institute, the SKBI, for Financial Economics in SMU, and recently completed a project on quantifying financial inclusion in Vietnam as a masterclass fellow. He has many researches and publications to his name.
Professor Ghosh has a PhD in economics and master's in finance from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Prior to that, he graduated from the prestigious Indian Statistical Institute with Masters of Statistics, with specialization in quantitative economics and planning, and a bachelor's in statistics with first-class honors.
I now request Mr. Aurobindo Ghosh to kindly come on stage and deliver his keynote address. Sir, please.
Thank you, Principal Melissa Maria, and of course, the guests and judges, and of course, last but not the least, all the students. You know, we are all students throughout our life, so I have to appreciate the fact that you are here in the morning in this auditorium as well. I would want to congratulate the principal for a fantastic campus. This is really, we had a small chat before this, a very engaging environment to really instigate collaboration among people, not just competition. Competition is only part of the story to get in, but collaboration is really the way forward. So having said that, once again, this is a beautiful occasion once again, and congratulations to her for encouraging students to participate in this. Now, I'm going to talk today a little bit about something that we don't always realize, and which is absolutely important for us to understand, that there are things that we taken for granted might be the most important things that we end up appreciating later in life. And that's sort of what my main theme for this particular talk on the power of storytelling, game playing, and imagination in this particular keynote address. So let's move back around 14 years. So Andaman Islands, December 26, 2004, about 8:30 a.m. in the morning. So it's just about 14 years back. When the world was celebrating Boxing Day, you might not know about the name, but this is a very important day in the cricket calendar. I'm sure most of you are aware of cricket. So in Australia, and so the two of the best teams, including, of course, Australia, will be playing a cricket match. But at the same time, right in the morning on that particular fateful day, there was an underwater earthquake right on the northern edge of Sumatra Island in Indonesia, in the Aceh province, which really triggered a huge tsunami. Now, this tsunami, also known as the Boxing Day tsunami, decimated nearly 250,000, so 250,000 lives over a period of time. And mostly because of the tsunami, the lives were lost, not just falling debris like what we see in earthquakes. And it reached as far away as I mentioned, in Australia, where maybe the cricket game was going on, and the African coast as well. But most of the damages that happened were right around the Bay of Bengal and the Indian Ocean, very much in the neighborhood of where we are in Indonesia, India, Sri Lanka, Maldives, and Thailand. Now, in the mainland in India, technology hubs, like we all know, of Chennai was affected hugely, particularly in the Marina Beach, where children were playing, a lot of people were sightseeing. And what they found something which is very strange, that the sea was receding. You know, you don't see the sea receding, right? You think it's coming towards you, but it was receding. And they were curious. And then they walked inside to see that much bigger shells which were available without realizing why was the sea receding. So they went in and to pick up the big shells, but then they realized a wall of water coming towards them. At that time, it was really too late, because that is what the tsunami was, a 30 feet, 9-meter wall of water coming towards you at a huge speed that you cannot really avoid. You just have to accept the fate at that time. So, given all the technological prowess that we have, and Chennai being once again one of the global centers of technology, they didn't know how to react, because they didn't know, they haven't seen that before. Now, let's move on a little further to the east into Bay of Bengal, where, of course, there are these Andaman and Nicobar Islands that has been in the news for the wrong reason of late, for an American tourist who died in one of the islands. And I'm not going to mention that, but let me tell you what happened there. So the same wave that took over so many lives in villages were wiped out in Chennai and around in Tamil Nadu and the east coast of India also affected the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. And there was no technology to fall back on in many of these remote islands, which are home to some of the farthest to reach human settlements from nearly the Neolithic age, the Stone Age, so to say, where people like the Jarwas or the North Sentinelese residents were there for 50,000 years or more. So they couldn't have known about this, right? And so the Indian government, when they send out the patrol boat and particularly the helicopter to figure out the level of damage that happened and possibly to count the tragic loss of lives, actually found something of a surprise. When they were flying past, there was a young boy on the beach throwing a javelin at them, because remember, they are very, very private. They do not want any intrusion at all. And, well, of course, the javelin didn't hit the helicopter. It was miles off. But the fact that he was there was surprising, because they didn't know how to react. They thought there won't be anyone. That would be the last of the tribes, farthest to reach tribes that are out there. But it was not that. In fact, not just him. And they possibly thought that this is possibly Superman sighting or Aquaman, who managed to surf over all the walls of water. But it turns out that many of his folks were alive too, not just him in the North Sentinelese, but also in the Andaman and other tribes who were there in the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. They have been there for 50,000 years. And unfortunately, a lot of people who came there much more recently, maybe 400 or 500 years back, particularly from Southeast Asia, were not that lucky. A lot of people lost their lives, including in military bases right around in the Andaman Islands. So the question is the following. Researchers, of course, tried to find out answers to questions, and they couldn't figure out how did that happen. So the things that were mostly floated around that, well, because they have not been touched by technology, they have some skill sets that others don't have, maybe superpowers, so to say. And what are these superpowers? They can smell the wind and figure out there is some kind of a disturbance or an impending disaster that is coming. And that's the reason they avoided it somehow. So those are the sort of stories and reasons that they were giving. But then, what scientists do most of the time, being in the profession for a while, we find out possibly the most difficult of reasons, missing the obvious one. The obvious one was that, well, they didn't know, they couldn't have seen, because the last tsunami happened 450 years back. So unless someone survived for 450 years, they wouldn't have any experience of that. So how did they know? How did they find out about this? And what did they do? They listened, but not to the winds. They listened to what their grandparents and their parents were telling them about bedtime stories, about if the sea recedes, go to the highest land. Very simple, straightforward advice. If the sea recedes, go to the highest land. And they listened. When they were falling asleep, they listened to the stories that were told, and that story saved them, not technology, which couldn't save a lot of people on the coast of Chennai, but it saved them because they moved to the highest land. Hardly anyone. There were some who died, but not that many compared to the others. Most of them survived, and they still do. So storytelling is a very, very important part of the story. You can really bring forward memories of the past through storytelling. And stories are very powerful. Before science, stories were there. We were telling stories. And unless we want to create this environment of memory that lasts forever, we have to listen to our parents and grandparents. You know, coming from a parent is probably more of an advice, but it's a good advice. You know, there are things that we forget when we look at technology all around us. So let's move fast forward to 2016. Now, 2016, of course, you know, you see a lot of changes that already happened in 2016, but I want to move back to a game. In fact, in Seoul, South Korea, Lee Sedol was one of the most prominent players of a game called Go. Now, Go is very similar to checkers that we might have played when we were young. But it's very popular in Southeast Asia, in China in particular, and Korea as well. And Lee Sedol was a champion there. So he thought he was invincible. He could not be beat at all. So then, when there was an offer came from an AI system, an artificial intelligence system developed by Google, the DeepMind, of course, he accepted the offer. He said, well, there is no way I could lose because he was winning all the time. And it turns out that the computer, which is called AlphaGo, did win, in fact, 4 out of 5 times. There's only one time that he won, and he refused to play the computer after that. Because, well, no one likes losing, right? So it's better not to kind of play games with people that you know would beat you most of the time. So that was what happened in the first step. Now, of course, later, Google's minds developed something called AlphaGo Zero, which was learning by itself. It's artificial intelligence software which was learning by itself. It was training by itself on the data that is provided by either the AlphaGo Lee, which beat Lee, by the way, that's how they name it, and then they developed it. And when this particular new machine, which learned by itself, played with the AlphaGo, which beat Lee, it was invincible. AlphaGo, the original one, could not win against the AlphaGo Zero. The problem was, once again, we bring back the scientists. The scientists were trying to figure out, okay, now we have designed this, now let me find out the reason why. And they couldn't. You know, the worst thing you can do to a scientist, or for that matter, your teachers, is to give them the question that they cannot answer. Okay, and they are really annoyed after that, okay? So don't do that too many times, by the way, okay? So they couldn't answer the question. And when they couldn't answer the question, they started imagining things. Like, they started imagining, what if, remember, AlphaGo, or the Go game, is like world domination, very much like checkers. You take over sort of the whole board. And if this AlphaGo Zero program starts thinking about world domination, then what will happen? How would you prevent a game from taking over the world? Well, lucky for us, that was not the purpose of that development. That development just last month had done something magical. What was that? It's called AlphaGo Fold, or AlphaFold, which was created by the Google scientists again, and this was to predict designs of proteins. And proteins are folding in a pattern that cannot be very well predicted. So there are human teams which are working on it, and they were successful only 2 out of 43 cases, they were successful. But this machine, AlphaGo or AlphaFold, was successful 23 out of 45 times. And what was that used for? What they did it for is to find out how the future of medicine will look like. How can they prevent debilitating diseases like Alzheimer's or Parkinson's? So what it started with a game was not really the end in itself. It was trying to figure out a way of solving a much, much more difficult problem. So the power of game is absolutely important. Developing games, understanding how we think, how we make decisions would be the first step to go to build the future businesses that we will be seeing and what we are seeing already. Now, I wanted to wrap up. So the score line, now we want to measure scores and games, right? Score line is 1-to-1, right? So the first one had no computers and human ones. The second one, humans couldn't compete, so the computer won. So the game is really love all or one all, if you want to call it that way. So we are not there yet. We are not there to solve all the problems of the world as yet. But if you think of artificial intelligence, it's not really artificial. There is a natural tendency to that. And it's not intelligent on its own. There are people behind it which are making it intelligent. It's you who are the brains behind the computer, for that matter. So So there is, of course, this whole idea of a machine. Now, machines are created by man from time immemorial to really solve some of the problems that they didn't or couldn't handle. And maybe artificial intelligence might be the last or the best machine man has ever made. Now, the purpose, again, is really to make our life easier in this increasingly uncertain world. Now, having said that, we need to understand the following. No computer has ever created a successful business on its own. And as far as I know, no computer has ever fallen in love. These are still things that human beings do. Well, don't fall for the movies like iRobot or Ravan. You know, they are fictitious. They are less science, more fiction. But at the end of the day, the emotional intelligence that are needed are really a human domain. It's not really something that computers actually own. So going back to this, what businesses have realized, the research that I do, is to bet on people, on the jockeys, so to say. That's the parlance that they use, on the jockeys, not on the companies or the horses, because it's the jockeys which run the companies, not the other way around. So if you think of it, look at Apple's or Google's or Facebook and Amazon's, they're all same thing. It's the person who is building the company. It's not the company building the person. So in the past, if you had to look at it, it was very rare that you would ever imagine that the richest person in the world, you know who that is, right? Okay. He started off as a bookseller. Okay. If you think about the largest taxi company in the world, what is that? They don't own a single taxi. The largest hotel chain in the world, you know about this? Airbnb, absolutely, don't own a single room. And last but not the least, the majority owner of the largest social network company in the world seem to have very few friends today. Okay? So having said that, I will end up on something on imagination. So I will quote John Lennon, of course, of Beatles fame, a very, very famous song. I will just read it. I cannot sing, unfortunately. Those are artificial intelligence has to take over then. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there is no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you will join us and the world will be one. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I request you to stay back on stage and accept a small token of appreciation on behalf of the school. I also request our principal, Ms. Melissa Maria, to come up and felicitate our guest. Ma'am, please.
May I request all the judges to kindly accept a memento as a token of our respect? Judges for conference, Mr. P. Mohandas and Mr. Rajkumar. Judges for Transformation Turncoat, Ms. Aarti Matre and Ms. Sangamitra Gupta. Judges for Quality Circle presentations, Mr. Tan Teo Hai Samuel and Mr. Tang Tek Chai from the Singapore Productivity Association. Judges for Opus for ICE, Mr. Shivakumar and Ms. Radha Narayanan.
Thank you, ma'am. Request you to kindly take your seat. I request our Vice Principal, Ms. Rekha Varghese, to come up to felicitate our other judges. Ma'am, please. Judges for Lil Mavericks, Mrs. Aparna Temurnikar and Mrs. Smita Vargantiwar. Judge for ADZAP, Ms. Rupali Karekar. Thank you, ma'am. Request you to kindly take your seat.
May I request Ms. Danisha, Mr. Naveen, and Ms. Vaishali to kindly come up on stage and receive a token of our appreciation. Ma'am, please. Mr. Naveen? Yes, please. Thank you, ma'am. Before we commence with our competition here in the auditorium, may I announce that conference will take place in the Multi-Purpose Hall Level 6 in the P block. Requesting all the participants and our judges, Mr. P. Mohandas and Mr. Rajkumar, to kindly move towards the venue for the conference, escorted by our volunteers and teachers.
It is now time to begin today's first competition, the Opus for ICE. Over to Nandita and Muskan.
A very good morning to one and all present here. I'm Nandita.
And I'm Muskan.
And we will be taking you through the competition segment of today's event.
So, dear audience, let us begin with the first competition of the day, Opus for ICE. We have our judges here, Mr. Shivakumar and Ms. Radha, who have graciously accepted to judge the competition here. We welcome you. We request you to take your place at the judges' table before we commence.
Opus for ICE. The topic for this competition is Technology for NextGen Learning. Here, teams must create an original lyric composition set to music. The lyrics should be based on the topic and in English language only. The performance will be live and the track will be played on their respective gadgets.
Without further ado, let us begin with the first team from the upper primary category, Team Opus 03.
Technology is fascinating and so much. Quite amazing, it has brought a revolution, giving us a better resolution. Technology is fascinating and so much. Quite amazing, it has brought a revolution, giving us a better resolution. Technology. It never writes or corrects my files, collects my thoughts from faraway miles. Oh techno, you're just blowing my mind, makes work easy and peasy for mankind. Technology is fascinating and so much. Quite amazing, it has brought a revolution, giving us a better resolution. Technology. Oh, you have brought a great progression, helping us in our profession. It gives us detailed information, speeding up and expanding our great nation. Technology is fascinating and so much. Quite amazing, it has brought a revolution, giving us a better resolution. Technology is fascinating and so much. Quite amazing, it has brought a revolution, giving us a better resolution. Technology. Technology. Technology.
Thank you, students, for that fantastic performance. The next team to perform is Team Opus 02.
Everyone learns from past generations. Technology is what comes to mind. Inventions become elevations when time slowly passes. Innovations creates new limits. Students can study in many ways. Creating AI made a new world for us. It encourages interaction and created cool reactions. Everyone learns from past generations. Technology is what comes to mind. Creativity inspires imagination. Smart robots can ease our lives. They can be our best friends and cheer us up while polishing lives. Everyone learns from past generations. Technology is what comes to mind. Entrepreneurship can manufacture androids. Business can boost while creating AI. It can help people all day and night, and it can even stop a fight. Building the future, building the next gen, building
That was a fabulous performance. Thank you, students. The next team to perform is Team Opus 01. Requesting Team Opus 04 to be ready, please.
Technology, technology, next innovation, next education, next generation, next innovator, next educator, next learning. Technology, technology, next innovation, next education, next generation, next innovator, next educator, next learning. The word technology is spread out everywhere. Everybody loves technology. Let us use it usefully. Technology, technology, next innovation, next education, next generation, next innovator, next educator, next learning. Come to the 21st century, technology has made our life. Use an iPad or an iPhone for learning purposes. Technology has changed our lives. Technology, useful for life. Technology, technology, next innovation, next education, next generation, next innovator, next educator, next learning. Anytime, any place, anywhere, any space, anything you wanna learn. Anytime, any place, anywhere, any space, anything you wanna learn. At your fingertips, you cannot resist the ease, the ease, the ease. Technology, technology, next innovation, next education, next generation, next innovator, next educator, next learning. Technology, technology, next innovation, next education, next generation, next innovator, next educator, next learning.
Thank you, students, for that breathtaking performance. The next team to perform is Team Opus 04. I request Team Opus 05 to please be ready.
New day has broken. Another day to step to your dreams. New day has broken. Another day to step to your dreams. So wake up, your dream is calling you. So wake up, your dream is calling you. With your dream, or you can chase your dream.
Hey! If you have a dream, there's no purpose in living. Don't just have a dream, dream it bigger and get into it deeper. Great people never knew that they'll become greater. Every small step will lead to a bigger. Whomsoever or whatsoever, a cost of creed, a dark or white. Nothing remains forever, your deed remains forever. So don't give up,
Yeah.
never give up.
Yeah.
Be focused,
Yeah.
keep your faith.
Yeah,
You'll
be
be
the
the
one
one
achieving in the end. be the one achieving in the end. You'll be the one achieving in the end.
Say hey!
Hey!
Say who!
Who?
Say yeah!
Yeah! Opportunities at every turn. The days that breaks you, days that makes you. Opportunities at every turn. The days that breaks you, days that makes you. Don't give it up, don't give it up, don't give it up to the world. Don't give it up, don't give it up, don't give it up to the world.
Thank you, students, for that awesome performance. Dear audience, give them another round of applause, please.
Moving on to the next category, middle school students. The first team to perform is Team Opus 06. Team Opus 05, requesting 06 to please be ready.
Technology, technology, you make our life so easy. Technology, technology, you make our life so easy. We need you for education, education. You are our innovation, innovation. Ooh, ooh, you are our future educator and future innovator. Technology, technology, you make our life so easy. You have changed our lives from difficult to easy. You have changed our lives from difficult to easy. The world depends on you. Technology, technology, you make our life so easy. Technology for global learning, we need you. Technology for global learning, we need you. Help in our skill development, ooh, ooh. Technology, technology, you make our life so easy. Technology in education, a tool in building new information. Technology is a boon to reach high soon. Technology, technology, you make our life so easy. Technology, technology, you make our life so easy. We need you for education, education. You are our innovation, innovation. Technology, technology, you make our life so easy. Technology, technology, you make our life so easy.
Thank you, students, for that fantastic performance. The next team to perform is Team Opus 06 from Ahmedabad, requesting Team Opus 07 to be ready.
Technology has given us wings. Barriers of the classroom are broken free. Come on everyone, let's all sing, 'cause we are the learners on the spring. Technology has given us wings. Barriers of the classroom are broken free. Come on everyone, let's all sing, 'cause we are the learners on the spring. Physics, calculus, geometry, theater, music, poetry, cooking, dancing, pottery. It's limitless and it's all free. This is the time where we have to be. Education with technology. We are the pioneers, you and me, 'cause we are the learners on the spree. Technology has given us wings. Barriers of the classroom are broken free. Come on everyone, let's all sing, 'cause we are the learners on the spree. Technology has given us wings. Barriers of the classroom are broken free. Come on everyone, let's all sing, 'cause we are the learners on the spree.
That was a fabulous performance. Thank you, students. The next team to perform is Team Opus 07.
We are the millennials, the tech generation, using new technology for modern education. As we embark on new journeys with our teachers, technology tools acting as our preachers. We are the digital drivers, yes, techie survivors. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. My new school, smart school, school the future for the tech savvy, smart leaders of the future. My new school, smart school, school the future for the tech savvy, smart leaders of the future. Technology is our guide, showing us the way. The world's a mere click away. No info for the project, so we would start to fret. Calmly, a voice would say,
Hey, ever heard of the internet?
we are the digital natives, yes. Multitasking mavericks, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. My new school, smart school, school the future for the tech savvy, smart leaders of the future. My new school, smart school, school the future for the tech savvy, smart leaders of the future. iPads, TVs, MacBook Airs are entering our school. Facial recognition too. Woohoo! Yeah, it's cool. Innovation, creativity, entrepreneurship, robotics, data analytics, biometrics. We are the tech geeks, skilling great heights. Come on, sing along. My new school, smart school, school the future for the tech savvy, smart leaders of the future. My new school, smart school, school the future for the tech savvy, smart leaders of the future. My new school, my new school, the future for the tech savvy, smart leaders of the future. Leaders of the future, leaders of the future, leaders of the future.
Thank you, teams, for that superb and mind-blowing show. We had a great time listening to all your fantastic songs. Dear audience, please give them another round of applause. With this, I take the opportunity of thanking the judges, Mr. Shivakumar and Ms. Radha, who took their time off to judge today. Thank you very much. May we request you to take your place in the audience and please enjoy the rest of the program.